Alright guys, this is another part to this CD. What I want to do today is I want to explain things without documents. Now everything else is documents or these cute little fuzzy things, and we're missing things. Now, putting this in perspective, this all has to do with you. This has to do with being responsible, doing the right thing, looking out for everyone else, not really being a belligerent and being self-centered, and all those kinds of things. Now, it's real simple. You're doing dumb shit. You're speeding, you're doing all these things, or you're carrying a little bit of weed in your pocket or a pill that's going to get you 2.5 years. You know, maybe you're not into that. But driving under suspension, or just whatever it is, you got to think about what you're doing. Okay? Number one, I have people call me all the time crying, I just want to be left alone. Well, the problem is we were programmed one way and taught one way. Tell the truth, be honest, it's the greatest country on earth, God-flagging country. The second thing is they have some totally different language, and you need to understand these things going into this. Okay? Number one, be quiet. Be left alone. Be honorable. Be nice. Don't speed. Most of everyone's problems are from cars. They're in the car traveling, and they don't understand the language, and they do something stupid. That's real important. Now you have to understand, McDonald's has its own language. Printing companies have their own language. Corporations have their own language. Schools have their own language. You ever see a waitress, write an order? It makes absolutely no sense to me, because it has gibberish on there that I don't understand, because I'm not a waitress. The point is, there's so many different languages that you don't understand. And in coins, collecting coins, I'm a coin collector. Does anybody know what DDO means? No, you don't. It's double die obverse. But they have their own language. Doctors have their own language. You're getting involved with people and entering into contracts because you shoot off your mouth. You give them your first and last name, thinking, I'm gonna be honest. He's got a gun. I'm scared. You have to break free, grow up. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to get you to think. That's it. If you don't go into this right thinking, my sister 2 months ago, crazy, I can't even believe it happened, got arrested for DUI. That's a $10,000, $12,000 loss. I mean, she couldn't hardly pay the bills. Now it's even going to be 10 times worse. Okay? Because number one, she can't drive. Now how's she going to get to work? I mean, just on and on and on. Now, it's one of those fluke things that just happen. And, if you're going to do dumb stuff, put a whole bunch of money in the bank. Matter of fact, get someone else to help you, because you're going to need more money. Stop and think about the things you do in life and how many people you affect. I'll bet you it's 50, 60, 70 people if you affect. My stepson gets in an accident. He leaves the scene because he's driving under suspension from some other stuff that he did. Well, who do you think that affected? That affected everybody in the family, because now everybody has to drive him everywhere. Everybody has to do all these things. They have to help him pitch in for his attorney, just on and on and on, because he knows none of this. So, stop and count about who you affect. You affect your kids, you affect your wife or husband, there's so many things. They suck you back in like quicksand. Whenever you get involved with the police officers and you cooperate and give them your name and you don't consent, if you don't consent, you're going to be in trouble. You give them your name, you give them permission to write you up. You give them permission to extort money from you. Yes, it's legal. Their fictional system is on top of our system. Here's our state, here's federal. Well, there's all these different jurisdictions, and people think they can argue jurisdiction. You're never going to win. You need to turn into a real man. You need to notify the agencies that you're alive and to cease and desist. You need to do your DBA or your assumed name. You need to become a notary. You need to become the executor or the executrix. You need to get your life in order, and you need to be the boss. And you need to get that aggressive, wanting to understand attitude. So across the board, that's the attitude. You're not educated? Get educated. Go back, look at the details. For example, learn how to do registered mail, learn how to do certified mail, learn what the differences is and what they cost and the importance of each document and how things are supposed to be done. Now, it's going to take you a while if you've never done registered mail, but you need to find out everything. Find out, you're supposed to put a minimum of $4,000 insurance in the center of your receipt for registered mail. Your name on the green card goes on the back of the green card, so when they tear it off after they sign it, they're going to mail it back to you. Doing registered mail makes it registered. It's like a security. It's higher than the court. And all the things you're going to do through the mail, and you're going to hold court through the mail. I mean, I coined that. I didn't come up with registered mail, of course, but, holding court using registered mail, I've won 915 times in a row. I mean, that's the way it is. It's canceled court cases, it's canceled bills, it's canceled any BS that has been sent through the mail to any of the parties that I've helped, or myself, or my close family and friends. It's worked every time. It's bad. So you have to understand, you have to understand that mechanism, and you have to do it correctly. You have to understand that $21 worth of regular postage stamps, however you do it, $1 at a time, or you do it at $23.75, so it's over $21. That is because you have to have a trial. It's a position in law. If you have that stamp on there, you've actually paid the tax, and it's more than $20, so it has to be solved by a trial. Now, it'll never be done that way, because they'll see what you did and how you sent it registered, your green card with the signatures, your receipt for registered mail had $4,000 worth of insurance. It's a couple dollars. They sign across it too. If they don't sign that, the clerks don't sign that at the post office, have them sign across the dollar amount for the insurance. Okay, now that's it's just getting into the technical things, but everything is so important. If you know that mechanism, that it's holding court using registered mail, hell, you can stop the bill collectors. You can stop all the parties that are trying to attack you, and they're doing it through the mail because the post office is the highest jurisdiction on the planet, and if they go through them and they're a witness, then how much higher can you get? I don't even know anything that's higher than sending something through the mail, registered mail, return receipt requested with insurance, where they got to sign for it. It's technically higher than the court. It's higher than any of their procedures. It's part of their procedures, even though it's not officially. It's just how they do their procedure. So understand that mechanism is so important. Almost all of my cases have been won through the mail or settled through the mail. Now, you have to know a lot of things. If you get a ticket and you decide, okay, I'm going to do this that way, I'm going to send this through the mail, I'm going to do all the bells and whistles, I'm going to make sure stamps are on there, I'm going to make sure that all the insurance is there, I'm going to do all this correctly, they can still issue a warrant for you. Why do they do it? I have no idea, because you got to know what you're doing. Now, you have to understand that I'm going to give you another mechanism here. If there isn't an affidavit signed by the judge attached to your warrant, it's invalid. And you give it back to them saying, you better call somebody, this is insufficient on its face, I'm not taking it. And you make sure they get it back. because you're refusing it and giving it back to them. You can't ever take it. You have to give it back to them, tell them it's invalid. They need to call somebody. That squashes most warrants. That people are in jail that had a warrant for them, and you go to their file and you get the copy of that first, and you get a certified copy, and then you look at it and flip it over and say, where's the rest of this? And they're going to go, well, in this county, we don't have to do anything like that. We just send it to the sheriff. And they're lying. They got to have an affidavit or it's invalid. 3,500 counties, they got to have an affidavit attached. So I figure this out. I go to the county. One of my friends is in jail. I go there, we talk, I go back to his court case, I get a copy of this, I tell the clerk that. 3 days later, he's out of jail. An ex-girlfriend calls me. Her dad calls me, says she's in jail. And it's bogus, just like most everything else. I go there, I talk to her. She gets out of jail somehow. She got an attorney, she didn't know any of this. I had to about drag her down to the courthouse. To go to the courthouse, we asked for a copy of this warrant. They give it to us, matter-of-factly, and they're being real belligerent and everything. And a couple of the women disappeared because they knew something was going to happen. When we said, where's the rest of this, warrant, they said there wasn't one. And she tried to tell me that there's a complaint. And I said, that's not going to work. That's not the same thing. This is invalid. You can't collect, and you know better. I scolded her. Well, guess what? 3 days later, the case got dismissed. 3 days after that, another friend's in another jail, and I thought, well, hey, that's a good guy. I go there, I get a copy of his paperwork. The clerk would not talk to me. She walked away. It was in another county. I said, do you have the affidavit that's supposed to be signed by the judge in all 3,500 counties? This is supposed to be done, and it's supposed to be done here. She would not talk to me. I said, I said, something's wrong here. I said, and you can't collect on this, and you have a real man in jail. And I leave. 3 days later, he gets out of jail. So that's just a little bit of information. Now, more stuff. It all starts with you. It all starts with you trying to get around everything. You trying to speed to work, trying to be late to work, trying to do all these things. Carrying a pill, carrying a little bit of weed, doing this, doing that. Just dumb shit. Stop doing it. Okay? Number one. That's 75% of your problem. Is you. Because you think you can go do whatever you want, even when you know this. Even me, with the kind of knowledge I have, which is off the chart. I don't go out there messing with them. I don't go out there speeding. I don't do anything like that. I want to be left alone. And if they don't leave me alone, they're going to be in big trouble. I filed against my jail. I filed against the deputies. I put it on them. I made them build their jail. I got 32 deputies fired. I stopped over 6,000 people from doing county time in the county jail because I made them build it. They was violating everyone's rights. I went on, it was in the paper that a lawsuit of that magnitude never hit the county in their history. So I feel very fortunate to be able to have this education to keep these people straight. And it's amazing the things they'll do and not do now. They don't bother me. They leave me alone. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I don't ever get stopped. We're not fighting no more. We apologize to each other, and then that's it. But you got to get to a position of standing. Who are you? Are you a troublemaker? Do you speed? Do you carry a pistol? If you do these things, when they stop you, if you give them your name and you enter into a contract, they're going to write you a ticket and they're going to pull you in like, they've got a reel, and like the attorneys do. They got you, and the attorneys do it to you, of course. And, it's amazing the trouble that people get into, and they call me all the time, and it's the dumbest damn things they'll call me for friend of mine calls me the other day, says, Harry, thank God I got you. I found you. He said, I was letting this kid drive my car. I was like, what? He said, yeah, I said, well, was he like trying to get his license? He was like, no, he was 14. I said, what the hell did you do that for? I mean, how can you fix that? You can't. He shouldn't have been doing it. I mean, he's going to have to, face the piper. So now understand that keeping your life together and doing the right things, it's cute. It's cute to pay that $10 over when you were speeding and it's a $75 ticket and you pay them $85 with a postal money order. And then 3 weeks later or so, they're going to send you the check and then you tear it up and throw it away. And because the check never returned, they couldn't close the case and they can't send it to the state to give you tickets. So you'll never get a ticket for it. Gave that information to a truck driver when he just got a ticket and he was driving down the road. He went straight to the post office, got the money order, mailed it to him, and he didn't get points on his license. But you can't be going out there and affecting the system and just beating and beating and beating the system. You can't do it. Do the right thing. You know not to run a stop sign. You know not to speed. 5 miles an hour over the speed limit can get somebody killed. I mean, there really is a reason why there's rules. There's probably no laws. I mean, there is no laws. It's administrations. They're administrating you because you're not alive. You didn't put in an executor appointment. You didn't tell them to stand down and cease and desist. I mean, you didn't do an affidavit of life with a bloody thumbprint. You're a corporation, person, slave, or animal, or all of them. And you need to be in the cage. And when they see you, get him, get him, get him. If you have a status of becoming a man or a woman and you've done that bloody thumbprint, they cannot get you down and beat you up. They're not supposed to do anything wrong to you. If they do, when you have attained that position, their own system will pulverize them. But you have to understand, you have to tell them when they start to attack you, you didn't appoint them agent, you're not belligerent, you're not aggressive, and you want to get through this. And 99.9% of the time, nothing bad will happen. Now, I don't want to say they won't give you a ticket, but if you're looking educated, then they don't want to pulverize you. I mean, they don't. They're scared. I mean, they really are. Now, I know they do a lot of things wrong, but you got to understand who you are is the point to this. If you hear my words, get yourself into a position, do documents, don't just go throwing them around like they're nothing, or, you can just freely do these things because you want to hinder or cause problems with the court. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't take 15 documents and put them into the case like I said in the last video. If you do your executor document, and it's on the CD, if you do your subpoena duces tecum, if you do your Form 56, if it's that serious, or multiple Form 56s, that's not too much to do in a row. It's not. But it should be calculated, it should be thought out, and it should be done correctly and timely before there's any problem, and then hope and pray there's no problems. God's not going to send anybody after you if you're doing the right thing. That's the way it is. It's divine intervention, every bit of this, and I have to do it. I get calls all the time where people don't have any damn idea what they're doing, and they're just getting themselves in more trouble, and they're band-aiding it, and then they're putting a band-aid over that, and then they're putting a band-aid over. I mean, come on. Read the stuff. Understand what you're doing. Don't get any problems. Don't hang out with anybody that does. And I know this is just a pep talk, but you need to get this understanding. Pick your angle, stick with your angle, and find out what works really well. The refusal for cause works phenomenal. The holding court using registered mail, You know, if you're getting this, you're going to get holding court using registered mail 12A. It's going to be on this CD. I already have it here. So I already know you're going to get it. Now, don't abuse it, but use your head and understand what's going on. Understand there are different languages. Stay the hell out of court. You do things, the very simple things that will cause you to stay out of trouble. Get your tags. Pay your insurance. Do the right thing. If you want to do it the other way from the people that you hear about's doing it with no tags, no insurance, then learn what the hell you're doing before you do it and be prepared because they're going to attack you. Now the state of California, I have a friend there that drives every day. No tags, no insurance, no license, no nothing, but the man knows what he's doing. Now that's fine. You're not injuring anyone. You're really not. So, you know, this is just a wake-up call. Look at the video that I put on there. Outline everything. Look at the documents. Look in every little teeny file and pick your favorite things and outline everything. Teach yourself with the documents and the files that are on this CD that please don't waste my time. Don't waste your own time. You know, if you do all this, chances are you're never even going to get in trouble because you're doing preventative maintenance. You're doing the ounce of prevention is worth the pound of cure, like Benjamin Franklin used to say. You know, my relatives, I hear them all the time telling me that. I thought, man, this is bullshit. I ain't listening to them. Well, guess what? They told me the right things. And all you have to do is apply yourself. Now, you can't just go helping anybody because their minds are not right. They have been programmed. They do what they want to do. They're self-centered. They're belligerent, things like that. So they'll threaten you or make you in fear. The cops are going to come after you. I remember I had people through time that always said that about me. You better stay away from him. He's going to get you in trouble. Well, I have over 1,000 wins. And then people correct themselves, and then they're safe, and they're protected, and they don't get themselves in these dumbass positions where the cops drag them out the car, roll the window down. It's that simple. Be a man or a woman. Do the right things. Study these documents. They're for educational purposes only. But you can tweak them a little, but don't go changing these documents. You're asking for trouble. You're not that educated. I mean, just don't do it. Don't change the documents. Don't send them where they don't go. I know that sounds crazy, but there's people that get my documents and get my stuff and send them, 15 other places that they don't go because they're too self-centered and they're belligerent. That stuff never works. Don't get too crazy. Do you know what you're doing because you know and you've studied? Or do you know what you're doing because someone told you what it was? Well, if you have been taught and you have read and you have done it and you have experience, then you know it. If someone did it for you or you've always heard it and you think you want to do it the way you've always heard it, you're in big trouble because that's not right. You don't know what you're doing. Study, find your self-worth. Get into this and understand what you're doing. Okay? Don't go out there and poke a bear in the eye with a stick. Okay? Don't kill a mosquito with a sledgehammer. You might laugh, but that's true. I know people that have filed documents for years, one right after another, after another, after another, after another, for years. That's asinine. Don't do it. Once you get labeled as it's correspondence, they'll never listen to anything you ever do again. And you'll always be in jail. You'll always be paying money. So get with it in life and don't get down to trial or you go to court tomorrow morning at 8:30 and call me, because it's not going to happen. I'm not going to help because it's just not right. You know, if you and it's always some bullshit. Trust me what I'm saying. When it's some bullshit and it ain't right, and you get a hold of me right when you get the presentment, right the very first day, I might be able to help you. Let's see what happens. Number one, this is not legal advice, no way, shape, or form. This is just personal evaluation for people that have called me and tried to ask me questions to try to get more knowledge, and I got that. But most of the time, people are rude, they're self-centered, and I can't teach them anything because they don't know these basics to be able to do anything. So feel free to call me. You should have my number if you ever get this. Okay, I'm going to be putting this on YouTube here real quick. I'll have these CDs done soon. So just give me a call. Understand that I don't turn my phone on till 11 in the morning. Chances are, if I answer, I'm going to say, please call me tonight, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Whatever your time is, then you figure out what time it is. I'm in Ohio, so wherever you are, it's your responsibility to call me. I never call anybody. Never. So hopefully you enjoyed everything and I didn't talk your ear off too much. Thanks for donating for the CD. And I'm a real man. Please be careful not to injure me. What I'm saying is, don't waste my time. Don't try to talk me into something that I don't agree with. And understand that I have simple, basic mechanisms, and I want things to be done easily, and I want you to be safe, and I want you to be real men and women that the system won't mess with, like me. I've attained that position. I deserve that position. So give me a call. Thank you for donating for my CD. We'll talk to you soon.